QMS 5.7.3-001 Identification, Traceability, and Product Status. API Specification Q1 states, the organization shall maintain a documented procedure for identification and traceability while the product is under control of the organization as required by the organization, the customer, and/or product specifications throughout the product realization process, including delivery and post-delivery activities. The procedure shall include requirements for maintenance or replacement of identification marks. ISO 9001-2015 states, the organization shall use suitable means to identify outputs when it is necessary to ensure the conformity of products and services. ISO further stipulates, the organization shall identify the status of outputs with respect to monitoring and measurement requirements throughout production and service provision. The organization shall control the unique identification of the outputs when traceability is a requirement and shall retain the documented information necessary to enable traceability. When ISO references outputs, it is referring to product manufactured or developed by the organization. Documented information refers to the records maintained by the organization. Monitoring and measurement refers to the equipment used to validate outputs as a result of product testing. For example, a torque wrench has a unique serial number. It has been calibrated and the calibration record includes the serial number of the torque wrench, thus tracing the torque wrench to a calibration standard, ensuring valid outputs of the torque wrench. Traceability requirements for customer-supplied property are addressed in QMSP 5.7.5-001, while traceability requirements are as documented in QMSP 5.7.3-001, Identification, Traceability, and Product Status. How does Dell Corporation meet the requirements? Using the Documented Quality Management System procedure, QMSP 5.7.3-001, Identification, Traceability, and Product Status. QMSP 5.7.3-001 can be summarized as a Dell Corporation Quality Management System procedure used to establish a standard for identification and traceability of materials used for the product realization process, service provision to include rentals, delivery of product to customers, and installation of product as required by contract. Project identification and status. Once the organization accepts a project or enters into a contract with a customer organization for the purchase and/or rental of equipment, a project identification number is assigned. This unique project identification is used to ensure materials and components are traceable to a project. The project identification number is also used to maintain and track product status throughout the product realization process. Product identification. Dell Corporation manufactured products, capital sale or rental, shall be assigned a unique identifier. This identifier will be used to maintain traceability throughout all product realization processes, as well as maintenance of rental fleet equipment. Unique identification shall follow the product through all product and service provisions. The unique identifier shall be included on project-specific documentation as deemed appropriate to ensure traceability is maintained throughout the product realization process. Outputs. Identification and traceability shall be maintained at a minimum for the following: specific parts or components deemed by the organization to be essential for the effective operation of respective products, raw materials used in structural, load-bearing, or pressure-containing capacities, when additional or enhanced identification and traceability controls are required by external interested parties, such as customers. The scope of product identification and traceability shall be maintained in accordance with the organization's quality management system requirements, customer-defined criteria, and/or applicable industry standards. Product identification, parts and components. The organization has deemed the following components essential to the effective operation of the respective products. Unique identification for such components shall be assigned, as applicable, captured, and maintained as documented information or record. Components include, but may not be limited to, motors, pumps, gearboxes, starter enclosures, variable frequency drives. Parts and components shall be identified by manufacturer serial number or other unique identifier, or part numbers as appropriate. Traceability shall be maintained for components and parts used in product realization as noted on quality management system forms or other documented means and maintained as record. Traceability forms are currently under development. Notification will be sent out when each form is completed, approved, and put into use. In such cases where there is no manufacturer or supplier unique identification, a unique descriptor shall be used to give an adequate identifier to a component or part. Product identification for materials. Raw materials used for product realization shall be identified by heat treat numbers, at a minimum, and/or MTR or material traceability report numbers. Control of materials shall be maintained from receipt of materials through all phases of product realization. Control methods for materials shall include, but may not be limited to, the following. Heat numbers prominently marked and easily distinguishable on all raw materials used in the product realization process. In such cases where materials are cut, material identification numbers, or markings, shall be transferred to the remaining sections of material. Heat numbers maintained in a materials database with traceability linked to conformance documents such as MTRs. Records shall be identified with associated project identification numbers as applicable. Daily cut sheets. Heat numbers shall be included on cut sheets and marked on cut parts. Parts too small to mark individually shall be suitably identified in groups with records of conformance maintained. Product status. The Dell Corporation Intranet job tracker page is used to identify product realization steps and monitor progress. Where monitoring and measurement is a requirement, the organization shall ensure outputs are traceable. Records. The organization shall maintain the necessary documented information or records in accordance with QMS 4.5-001, control of records to ensure traceability. Why traceability is important. Traceability allows the organization to trace materials, both raw and produced, back to its manufacturing origin. It is integral to the effective determination of the root cause of a nonconformance. It limits the potential liability placed on the organization in the event of a product failure. It facilitates return and/or replacement of defective products due to manufacturer product recall or failure. It maintains a record which the organization can use to contact or inform Dell Corporation customers in the event of a product failure or recall. Maintaining identification and traceability is essential for Dell Corporation to ensure it is capable of continuing to provide our customers with a quality product in accordance with documented requirements. It is also important in protecting the organization against liabilities due to product failures. Thank you for taking the time to watch this Quality Management System training presentation. Don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions about this or any other quality management system procedure.